and go denyo. Oh, what that dang. This is the voice of the patriot. Straight from the office of the patriot. This is the voice of the people. Here we do not criticize, but if we must, we'll just do that on one condition: to build and not to destroy. That is why we keep saying we are in the service of God and country. This is the headquarters of the truth. And my name, Blakk Rasta. Now today we have a number of issues to look at, and I need you to come along. It's the voice of the patriot. Now the very first story I am looking at today is not a story I will normally take, but I'm looking at it as a historian, and I would like to make the records stand as straight as the Twin Towers. I'm reading this from Ghana Web, and it says, what does an elected civilian president have to do with coup leaders? Okatakyie Afrifa Mensa fires Mahama. When I read it. Now, media personality Okatakyie Afrifa Mensa has raised concerns about President John Dramani Mahama's alleged dealings with coup makers in the Sahel region, particularly about Ghana's gold reserves. Now, speaking on his show For the Records on April 1, that's yesterday, 2025, Okatakyie Afrifa Mensa questioning the president's growing ties with leaders in the Sahel region, alleging that Mahama intends to use these connections to channel Ghana's gold to other countries. He claimed that Mahama's affiliations with certain coup leaders are influenced by Russia, and suggested that the president may have made commitments involving Ghana's gold, which he now seeks to fulfill. If you have noticed, John Mahama and the Sahel region are now doing business together, and it's because of Russia. A whistleblower has hinted at this. This is why, since taking office, Mahama has not appointed ambassadors, but instead appointed Bevlolati to handle dealings with the Sahel region. One might think it's just diplomacy, but no, he is dealing with the Russians. So we are asking, which country did he mortgage our gold to? That is why he is desperately looking for gold to pay back. We want answers from Sami Jemfi and his people. All right. Normally, I do not want to counter anything that is said by a media person, because I want to go for the big wigs, those who decide, the movers and the shakers of the nation in terms of political power. But I will just want to go through a little bit of history so that we will look at what Okatakyie, my very good brethren, is talking about. Now he's asking what the business is for a democratically elected president to be dealing with coup makers. Let's go straight for the jugular vein. These are not ordinary coup makers. We celebrate Thomas Sankara all over Africa and beyond. He was a coup maker. In Ghana, a lot of people revere Jerry John Rawlings. He was a coup maker. The Bible even tells us, my brother, my sister, to resist all unlawful laws. My brother, my sister, Islam will tell you to respect your father and your mother, but you can resist them when they are drawing you towards ungodliness. That probably is the only instance Islam allows you to disregard what your parents say. My brother, my sister, We have to resist all illegal laws, all ungodly laws. My brother, my sister, now the Burkinabe president, Ibrahim Traore, has proven beyond all doubt, at least to his people in Burkina Faso, that he means well. I have been to Burkina Faso 3 times since he took office. I have made a national song for Burkina Faso. My brother, if you truly know a bit of history, you will know that all the so-called Francophone countries were under bondage and suppression colonially. When Ghana celebrated independence and fought tyranny from imperialists in independence, my brother, my sister, the so-called Francophone countries were still in bondage and suppression. Their reserves were still being kept by France, and France still dictated to them how high to jump. It wasn't about jump or not jump. You must jump. But now you can negotiate how high you have to jump. They borrowed their own money from France. And if they refused to contribute to this portal of money, France would find a way of punishing them. I do not want to sound like a broken record and go too much into the history. My brother, there was a time all these Francophone countries behaved like the French. It was called assimilation. You know what historically is called assimilation? The so-called Francophone drank tea like the French. They spoke like the French. French was their official language. And the more you speak French, the better you were a human being. They took no decisions until they sat and corroborated everything, dotting the I's and crossing the T's with France. They were more or less puppets of France, even in their pseudo-independence. My brother, my sister, Houphouët-Boigny even made things worse. He was the king of assimilation. Everything they did, France would have to put a thumbprint even in their so-called independence. So a time came when some of these young soldiers decided that enough with France. They wanted to break loose. They wanted to be able to stand on their own. France is such a wicked country if you don't know. I have visited France twice in my life. In colonial times, France was worse than a demon. They colonized more countries than even the English. Look at how they treated their so-called colonies. I'm taking you through a history lesson. Listen. When they went all the way to Guinea, you know what they did there? You know what they did to Ahmed Sékou Touré when he demanded independence? They went through the referendum and the people said no to France. They broke every building that they put up in that country. They sealed off all drainage systems that they built using the people's money by pouring raw concrete into all these drains. Everything they built in Guinea, because they had demanded independence, they broke everything down. All the gutters they built, they poured hard concrete into them, blocking all of them, causing artificial floods in the country. As if that was not enough, they carried off tables and chairs, including spoons, all the way back to France, leaving the country to suffer. Is this a human country or a junglist country? That was what France did in Guinea. Now fast forward from the colonial times into modern days. You know what they did in Burkina Faso? When the Burkinabe leader decided that, hey, listen, we want our independence from you and therefore we want you to back off. They stopped every Burkinabe from coming to France. They are actively on the streets of Paris looking out for the so-called Sahel, Mali, Burkina Faso, arresting them one after the other, tormenting them and returning them to their countries. Sometimes we hear that they don't even return them as proper human beings anymore. Whatever they do to their brains, we cannot say that on radio. We want our independence. We don't want you in our country. Therefore, no member of your country should come to our country. That's what France said. Having stolen so much from Africa to build France and even more, today they are saying no member of these countries should visit France. To those who are history illiterates, let us straighten them a little bit with all respect. When Sankara staged that coup d'etat with the help of Alassane Ouattara, who actually was the coup leader, you know what happened? Sankara was put in place because of his Pan-African values. First thing he did was to cut ties with France. The same thing that Ibrahim Traoré is doing right now. You know what he did? He cut ties with France immediately. And he came out with a slogan, which I pray that Ghana holds on to. La pays ou la mort. In Burkina Faso today, that slogan is coming back strongly because of this guy called Ibrahim Traoré. La pays ou la mort. It means the country or death. It means if we can have our country, we better die. How many Ghanaians can boldly say this? La pays ou la mort. The country or death. When all Ghanaians are running out of Ghana, every Ghanaian wants to go to England, America. They will sell their fathers and mothers in order to go to America. When they get a visa to America, oh God, is better than going to heaven. There are a lot of Ghanaians who will reject visas to heaven and accept visas to America. My brother, that is how serious the disease of colonialism has eaten into our bone marrow. Today, Burkina Faso is having a fresh air of relief. La pays ou la mort. All because of these guys that my brother Okatakyie calls coup makers. They have defied all ungodly, illegal laws, and I support that. I am not a coup maker. I do not support coup makers. But in every law, there must always be a little section where there can be an exception. When Ibrahim Traoré came to Ghana at the invitation of John Dramani Mahama, he had an applause that was so tenderous. At a point we thought heaven had broken loose and God and his angels were descending on the parade. That's the power of the leader. Forget about the labels and deal with the content. My brother, my sister, Sankara, the most revered man in Burkina Faso, was a coup maker. But today, he's their biggest national hero, more revered than even the founders of their land, Yanenga and Riale, including Ouedraogo. I love history, and if you don't stop me, I will go on and on and on and on. My brother, my sister, if Mahama today is tying his girdles around these guys, it's just a way of saying, listen, to hell with colonialism. We truly want our independence. The Mahama that you see right now is not the puppet that you thought of years back. The Mahama that you see right now is a man of his own who is ready to leave a befitting legacy for his people. Can't you read that on his face? The Mahama that you see right now, look at his appointments. My brother, my sister, I know a lot of party people will be disappointed, but it's not about party. It's about the nation. It's about the legacy that will be left behind. That's a bold leader. Now let us get to the gold and Russia issue. My brother, Russia is a political nation that has taken sides against America. We know that. Russia and America are two different poles, far apart because of politics. Any African country that aligns in this political crossfire is an idiotic country. Stay away from Russia's politics. Stay away from America's politics. Like Nkrumah said, be non-aligned. We don't look east, neither do we look west. We only look forward. Even though we say, Sankofa Yenchir. That's why you see Nkrumah's photographs always pointing in front. It's a symbol of the non-alignment movement. My brother, my sister, anybody who takes sides with either America or England, I beg your pardon, or Russia, is sowing the wind, and he shall by all means reap a whirlwind, as said in the book of Hosea. My brother, my sister, can I go deeper? If Mahama truly is aligning with Russia, then that is suicidal. We must learn from the mistakes of Kwame Nkrumah. Remember when Kwame Nkrumah, at a point, was seen to be siding with Russia during the Cold War? What happened? The President of America deceived Nkrumah into believing that he was with him and that he will give him everything. But they did not like Nkrumah's non-alignment stance. They read meanings into the fact that Nkrumah was a little bit more aligned with Russia when Ghana was going through turbulent times, when our cocoa was counterfeited. In other words, when our cocoa was duplicated. In fact, when our cocoa was replicated. In fact, when our cocoa, my brother, my sister, was made useless by America creating an artificial one, my brother, my sister, to compete with Ghana cocoa, the economy of Ghana slumped to the ground. America was no longer trading with Ghana. Before Nkrumah could say Jack, the economy was so hemorrhaged, it ran into terminal asphyxia. It ran into terminal jaundice. You know what happened? The people started agitating. Nkrumah ran back to America and said, hey, America, Mr. President, remember you promised me that you would loan me this amount of money. You know what the President of America said? He said, the American people who I serve, even though personally I want to do it, have refused that we shouldn't give any foreign aid to anybody. No loans, nothing. Nkrumah said, but you promised me. We had a gentleman's agreement. He said, oh yes, Mr. President, I honestly want to, but the American people who employed me have said I shouldn't. That was the end of Nkrumah. 66, coup d'etat. He was taken out. 72, he died a painful death. My brother, non-alignment is the key. That is why Switzerland is the country it is today. Non-alignment is the key. We are friends with Russia. We are friends with America. We are not taking sides. So whatever gold shenanigans are in there, we have seen enough of the robbery in Nana Akufo-Addo's government. How we were told more than 1.5 trillion American dollars worth of gold was actually smuggled in the days of Nana Akufo-Addo, such a dangerous, dirty-minded non-patriot. We have seen enough of the thievery. We have seen enough corruption. The point I'm making is simple. There are coup makers and there are coup makers. There are some coup makers we embrace and sit down to eat and dine with. There are some that we demonstrate against and chase out, like Kotoka and all those idiots. Again, not every fish is a fish, even though they live in the water. Some are reptiles. Hallelujah. My brother, my sister, finally, if truly John Dramani Mahama has ties with Russia, have the same ties with America, so that we wouldn't be seen to be latching so much on one side. That is not the foundation on which this nation was built. We are a non-alignment state, as Kwame Nkrumah said. Now the next story I want to look at is also crunchingly hot. And I need you to come. I normally don't like taking these stories, but I have to do that because, in fact, it is my mandate to look at some of these issues. From Ghana Word, and it says, Mahama should have been bold to reset Ghana, but he's repeating past mistakes. And this is Charles Owusu speaking. I do not know Charles Owusu, but we'll know who he is soon. Charles Owusu, a former official of the Forestry Commission, has expressed his belief that President John Dramani Mahama had the potential to reset the country and correct the mistakes of previous governments. However, he is now disappointed by some of Mahama's actions, particularly regarding the dismissal of officials perceived to be politically biased. According to Owusu, when a new government takes over and removes certain individuals based on alleged political affiliations, it does not reflect well on the country. He explained that he initially believed that Mahama, due to his limited term in office, will resist such pressures and foster a more inclusive governance approach. Charles Owusu asserted that whilst the president has not committed any constitutional crime by dismissing people from his government, he could have handled the situation better. Is this not this same Charles Owusu who Sir John decided to, remit so many things in his will to? Such thieves. When human beings are talking about Ghana, thieves are busily also talking. Ha! OAOP. My brother, Sir John was a dirty thief who is resting in the hottest part of hell right now for the damage that he caused to our forests. Sir John was the master Galamseya who trained Wontumi as his assistant. The two dirty, deadliest Galamseyas in the history of Ghana, Sir John and Wontumi. One is alive, one is dead and resting in hell, the hottest part of hell. My brother, my sister, in the days of Sir John, we saw the wanton destruction of the forest. This guy here called Charles was a lieutenant to Sir John, and they were on their spree of destroying the forest, as it was told to us. Sir John loved this guy so much, his PIC, partner in crime, to the point that he's stolen wealth, my brother, my sister, some of which his own party had to come and decry, including land in areas that were supposed never to be encroached on. dirty ghost, Sir John. In his will, he gave out forever and ever land and other such property, my brother, my sister, to this guy here who is now talking about Mahama changing people and blah, blah, blah. Is it a way of speaking to Mahama to have maintained him in the forest to continue with the deadly crime of his boss, Sir John? Listen up. Again, my brother, my sister, I support President Mahama in his bid to rid the country of politically aligned guys. We don't need politically aligned people in office. We need nationally aligned people. Think. Charles Owusu here is saying, he's making the same mistakes other governments made. When your party was in power, you didn't see it as a mistake. Now that you have been kicked out, you all of a sudden are moralizing it on the president. To hell with some of these remarks. Mr. President, I support you. Sack every politically minded bloke in this government. Where Ghana is moving right now, my brother, my sister, we have gone beyond politics. It's all about the nation. It's nationalism, not politicization or politicism. Can't you see that the reset that this guy is talking about is beyond politics? Anybody with a political mind is a misfit in this government. Everybody with the mind of a cockroach, my brother, my sister, is a misfit in this government. It's all about patriotism, nationalism. We must rise above this mediocre cockroach mindedness. My brother, my sister, the other day I met with the president, albeit very, very briefly. And he told me, Blakk Rasta, you know what? I'm going to tell you something. Listen, when I made that comment, appointments, I see cockroaches here, lizards here, frogs here, and all that. I'm sure many people did not understand what it was. Mr. President told me himself, in his own words, Blakk Rasta, you know what? This is a president anybody can approach. He told me, Blakk, you know what? I have appointed people that I believed in, that they could do the work because of their track record. But shockingly, a number of them came back to me, telling me that the places I had appointed them to take over had nothing there to give them in terms of loot. For that matter, they were coming to me to change their appointments. That's what I mean by cockroaches, lizards, frogs, and so on and so forth. When the president is thinking Ghana, some people are thinking NPP, some people are thinking NDC. Any leader whose mind is NDC or NPP is, in fact, a recipe for failure. Absolutely. So, Mr. Charles Owusu, enough of the robbery and stealing and deforestation of our beautiful forests. Enough of your bosses stealing. It's time to truly reset. This is a guy, in less than 3 months of taking office, he's already saying that he's lost hope in the reset. Anyway, they say, I leave it here for these cockroach minds. The final story I'm going to look at is a story that is quite hilarious. But Blakk Rasta will take it. I'm reading this from Ghana Web, and it says, fight with party leadership. Bosiakun was a major factor in the election outcome. There was conflict at the regional level, and because of that, the party's strength in the region weakened. Many party members blamed him for being at loggerheads with other party officers. As a result, he struggled to gain support during his personal campaign efforts in various constituencies, while other officers remained uninvolved. The chiefs pointed this out in the report. He stated, speaking in an interview on Hello FM, in a video shared on TikTok, Chairman Wontumi added that Wontumi acknowledged some of the issues raised in the report after receiving a copy. I leave it here. Yes, I leave it here. My brother, my sister, I have talked about this before. I don't know if I should continue talking about it. But listen with rapt attention. I don't know what they saw in Chairman Wontumi that made them think that out of the millions of party supporters that they had, he was the best person to be the Ashanti regional chairman. Stark illiterate, lacks common sense, judgment is so poor, unlettered, and so ignorant. In a country where politics is about how loud you are and not how sensible you are, Chairman Wontumi can always be a chairman of not just any region, but the so-called World Bank of a political party. You don't need brains in Ghana to be a politician. All you need is foolhardiness, excess loudness. All the other ones you can add, and you will be correct. My brother, my sister, we all saw Chairman Wontumi sitting on TV with Adumochiri displaying the gold that he had destroyed the country to get. I remember Adumochiri asking him how much the gold was worth. And my brother, my sister, he didn't want to go straight to the point. My brother, if professors and so on and so forth, all hard-working doctors and teachers can go to school and deal with academia, and they have never seen gold like this, and languishing in poverty because the nation and the system decided to relegate them to the curb, who would want to go to school? Everybody would want to be like a Chairman Wontumi. No common sense. All you have is loudness. I have 3 radio stations, 4 online, and TV. I am your boss. Be careful, Blakk Rasta. Go and bath. My brother, my sister, it is sad where we are driving our nation to. It is sad. Chairman Wontumi, this one too, wait, is the chairman of their World Bank. It tells you the crop of party you have. They all didn't see anything wrong with Chairman Wontumi. Even if they did, they were shy of coming out to debunk and to lacerate all the noise he made because they wanted to be politically correct. I'm wondering why Wontumi is still not behind bars. Honestly. He did this Galamsey, as we were told, to be able to build whatever he has built. Party Yenska. So they will kill billions in order to make trillions. they would destroy the land in order to make billions, whilst trillions died. These are the people we have in our nation. Now they are crying that he was one of the reasons they lost the elections. I pray that these guys never get into power 50 years to come, when all these Wontumis and the rest would have been dead. Because Galamsey kills. My brother, my sister, it is sad when you give power to non-entities. They would use the same power against you. I would like to end with this Dagomba proverb. The Dagomba say, and I quote, I do a bi kabolo jangbene nyinko yang mobe. You want to hear it again? I do a bi kabolo jangbene nyinko yang mobe. If you give birth to your own child and you call him a lion, make sure he never gets angry and hungry. He will make you his food. They have created a monster, and that monster is this Wontumi. He got angry and hungry, so he turned them into food, gobbled all of them, right from the presidency all the way down to the footstool. To God be the glory.
Ya waleta matam sanga